I don't dislike George Washington. I don't dislike even some of the most racist people in history. But I want to know their history, but I also want to know not only that, hey, they were whatever, but I also want to know about the Shirley Chisholms. I also want to know about the Frederick Douglasses. And not even Nat Turner. I want to know more about Nat Turner than him just being some revolutionary. I want to know the Nat Turner that was out in the fields. I want to know the Nat Turner that grew up as a kid. I don't want to know just the narrative. Tuned in to our big and 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 Hello, Grand Risings. So I want to start out something different. And so I just had a new release come out. It is called Unyielding Echoes. And I'm going to play that. And then we will get into today's episode. So enjoy. My spirit stays spirits, no tears, redeeming, lurking at preserve, internet haters, clout chasing in vain. I stand tall like David, unfazed, no pain. Year-round chaos, death and destruction. Thanksgiving and Christmas, a season of disruption. Threats and whispers, they call it Satan's game. But I respond with love, not chasing the same fame. Voice never silenced. Staying vocal and true, serving the roots more than just Jesus. It's about Judas too. In this urban game, I rise, never subdued. The movement is rigged, no need for awards pursued.
Yo. The circumstantial. Bible lies, know your rights. Bible lies, know your rights. You got the right to be free. So love your life, so love your life. Reach the sky, they can't steal your shine. Reach the sky, they can't steal your shine. Massive face prepared, keep your heart integrity, go to scale. Reach the sky, reach the skies.
W's across the board, no applause received. Actions unheralded, my legacy believed. Born on 5/12/1977, my mom to go. In the strange movement, feeling the change remote. Trust issues won't change, it's something I bear. And lawnmower to spot snakes in the grass with care. Built a fence to confine the snakes in the grass. Kept a heart to devour them, a strategic path. On my deathbed, but God healing me fast. Bible
lies, know your rights. Bible lies, know your rights. You got the right to be free. So love your life, so love your life. Reach the sky, so love your life. Reach the sky, they can't steal your shine. Reach the sky, they can't steal your shine. Reach the skies.
Other plans in store, part of the divine cast. Smiles were a disguise, tears under the mask. Suffocating inside for years, wearing the mask.
Keep it clean. It's the urban conservative. Dare to dream.
Recordings.
Yo. So that just came out. That is Unyielding Echoes. That is the Urban Conservative featuring Circumstantial Saint. I'm going to be dropping every week for a while. The next couple weeks. So just be out on the lookout for that. But welcome back to another episode of the Urban Conservative, where we bring you the latest news and commentary from a urban conservative perspective. I'm your host, Chaz, Neal, and today we're diving into a couple of things. First, I want to talk about some key developments from the Rochester School Board and the Minnesota House. And I want to start with the Minnesota House because we've got a packed agenda with some continuous bills on the docket, from modifying paid family medical leave to sports betting authorization. There's plenty to keep an eye on. But one bill that caught my eye, well, there's a couple actually bills that caught my eye. One is the Equal Rights Amendment. That really caught my eye because it's a big discussion right now. And it bothers me is because we can't even get slavery as a ballot question to the voters, right? To get involuntary servitude off of our Constitution, right? Because they say there's no slavery, only by punishment, though, right? They just give it a different name. But we have so many brothers and sisters that are wrongfully incarcerated, and innocence isn't enough to overturn a conviction. But they're more worried about other things. So that's one bill that I want to speak about. Is the ERA, and another one that I want to speak about is 4273, which would prohibit bans on displaying the rainbow flag in public buildings. Here's my thing of it is, right? They won't even prohibit and ban no-knock warrants, but yet you will prohibit and ban freedom of speech, right? Even though we might not agree with it, it's a public. So really, it just, and these ain't, and again, I want people to know these aren't Republican bills. These aren't Republican bills. 4657 House file, which addresses the gay panic criminal defense. That's something that I think people need to pay attention to. It is a complex issue that deserves thoughtful debate, but rushing to a decision, which the Democrats do over and over again, and especially in Minnesota, they just rush through these bills without giving it any like deep thought, or because we see the scams with feeding our future. We've seen the scams with the violence interrupters, which, finally you have city elected officials coming out and saying that, violence interrupters weren't about actually preventing violence. It was more about crowd control and about spying and getting information for the police department, right? Getting information against people that were out protesting, right? And this is the crazy thing for me, and this is why, like, I've really started to think and feel differently about all of this, right? Because I keep on asking myself, what are you scared of? What are you scared of? And honestly, I don't believe that it's even fear anymore for a lot of people. I think it's the fact of that we're just so used to this way of life. We're okay with what's going on, or maybe not that we're okay with it, but that we don't understand, right? Or we can't feel the effects of what's going on, because there's that saying of out of sight, out of mind. It happens a lot, because if we can't see it, we don't think about it, right? I mean, come on now. That's just human nature to us. It's something that is automatically inside of our bodies because a lot of people that if they don't understand something, and it's not even about, see, when it comes to understanding, and understanding is, you can break that down into components, right? Because not everybody has the same perspective. Not everybody has the same educational background. Not everybody has the same life background. So everybody's comprehension perspective or definitions could be different. So we have to break it down to people so that we can, what do we say to the doctor when they speak to these big ass words? Or, we say to these lawyers, can you please speak in layman's terms? So why aren't we saying the same things to these elected officials who use articulate words to think that they're smart and to get legislation passed, but yet think that we don't understand what's going on? Because we do. We do understand what's going on. So I'm going to really peel back a couple of things today. And I don't believe that this is the thing I want people to understand, because, people will say, oh, you're a Republican, you're this. You don't see, okay, here's the thing of it is I want people to understand, right? You don't see me behind some fucking white man. I'm not up in Donald Trump ass. I'm not in fucking Joe Biden ass either, right? I'm not no nigga for Trump. I'm not no nigga for Biden. I'm a nigga for the community. I'm a nigga for the people. And I don't hear that coming out of people's mouths, right? And that's what frustrates me, because I don't see people out here talking about community. I don't. I see people out here talking about political party affiliations, not the community. Not the community, but what benefits them, what benefits their party. Because I don't see shit going on about community, about empowering and bettering. I don't hear none of that, right? Because if we did, I will say this, right? Because this really gets into, I gotta say I'm disappointed, right? Yesterday, there was a special election for a Hennepin County commissioner that really could have done a lot. I think could have shook up a lot of things if she would have got in, right? But I will say this: how the fuck can you win anything? How can you win an election, right? When you had, hold on, let me pull up the numbers because I want people to see this. And tag, if you're on Twitter, tag Mark Carter, take Isaiah Washington. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about smoke, right? Because I do agree with what y'all are doing. So I don't want people to take this, oh, this nigga calling out Mark Carter, this nigga calling out the biggest names. No, it's not even about that. Y'all are going to take it how you're going to take it. And at the end of the day, I get my words taken out of context all the time. So the shit don't faze me no more. But I want people to understand and to see something, right? Because they always talk about, oh, we're gonna win this election, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna turn this red, we're gonna blah blah blah, right? So I want y'all. This is last night in Minnesota, right? Special election. And I want to show you guys the numbers. So yesterday, you see 66 precincts. This was at 8:47. In Minnesota, we stopped voting at 8. But registered voters yesterday morning for these 66 precincts, right, was 126,375 people. Look how many people came out. No, that's not the people. That's not 45,000. No, that's not. No. These are the totals. That's the percent, right? So you had, and then they say nonpartisan, but Heather Edelson, whatever how you say her name, was a Democrat. She was endorsed by the Democrats. She was endorsed by Democratic unions, Democratic legislators, House and Senate. So to say that it's nonpartisan, yeah, let's cut the bullshit. Marissa, who the GOP Republicans stood behind, 5,000, right? So literally lost by a little over 1,000 votes. But when you look at this number and then you look at that number, right? That's a big difference. So how come no one is talking about the fact that only 9% of registered voters came out and voted? You can't win elections if people don't vote. And that's one thing that I sit here and I literally continually talk about is, yeah, we can literally, yeah, my Timberwolves lost last night. We can literally talk about changing things, but it's just talk. It's just talk. If we're not actually out here making sure that people are, because we can talk it, we can register voters, but if we're not actually getting people to vote, we're not doing shit. It's just we're just talking. That's it. We're just talking. That's all we're doing is just talking. We're not changing shit. We're just talking. So how can we, as a community, change that? Huh? That's one thing I want to know is how can we, as a community, change this, right? Because Democratic dominance prevails once more while too many stay silent. A measly 9% voter turnout. That's the reality of neglecting our civic duty. It's time to wake up, speak out, and reclaim our communities. Silent majority, take action. We are. Yeah. By 1,023 votes. That's how I know that we don't care. We don't care. Everybody wants to complain about Mary Mortery right now in Hennepin County. But yet the people that wanted change, that wanted her gone, y'all didn't come out and vote. You literally didn't come out and vote. You literally had 11,000 people vote yesterday. 11,000. 11,000. You can't win that way. You can't. Not when they win with only 10% by needing only 10% to win the vote. To win. Come on. Make it make sense to me. And I ask people that all day. That's how I know that these people really aren't boots on the ground and they really not out here trying to do outreach. Because they would understand. That's like the whole thing about Turn Chicago Red. Even if the city of Chicago and the county, Cook County, turn red, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything because your city is still blue. You have 48 aldermen out of 50 that are Democrats, right? The other two are independent. All of your county commissioners, Democrat. And you just had elections. So tell me, how do you turn something when you're really not, it's not turning anything red because you still at the end of the day just had an election and weren't out there trying to turn anything red, but the streets are red because we have no good thugs who like to shoot slugs at children, right? We have no good thugs. That's why. And the people, they can talk about the Second Amendment all day, right? But when it comes down to really fighting for our Second Amendment rights, we stay silent. Because if we didn't stay silent and we spoke out, Dexter Taylor wouldn't be going through what he's going through. The man wouldn't have just been sentenced to 10 years in prison for doing something he can legally do. That's what's crazy. But because they're ghost guns, but all the parts are, he's buying them legally, not illegally. Everything he did was legal. Just like the army man. Nobody's talking about how They're talking about, oh, well, he shouldn't have had a gun. What do you mean? He's in his own space. What do you mean? Why can't he have his gun out? If somebody comes to the door that he doesn't know who's at his door. Like, I don't understand how we don't have the same right to protect ourselves that other people have the rights to protect themselves, all because of the color of our skin. That's insane to me. If that doesn't show that we actually really need change, and that because where's Ben Crump and Al Sharpton on that case? Nowhere in fucking sight. Nowhere in sight. But they still be at all the eulogies. Al out here giving eulogies, Ben out getting press conferences. And yet people will talk about academics and his civil, I'm not criminal, civil, of something that just happened 2 years ago. So obviously, if the police didn't do press charges, right? What other way to get to a person than civil? That's how I know these niggas is goofy, because why wasn't nobody, when Frank Nitti and all them women came out against Frank Nitti, right? And the police wanted to press charges. And yet people, his followers, got on those women and harassed those women so much that they asked the prosecutor not to press charges. That's why that nigga's down in Atlanta. Make it make sense to me. And y'all talk about y'all want change, but we allow predators, people that prey on our women and on our children, and instead of getting them out of our communities, you protect them, just like with Sir Major, right? Yeah, they protect these people. And it's insane to me, because we still have the Tariq Nasheeds out here. We still have the Melina Abdullahs, right? We still have the Cortez Rices, but yet people want to see the Diddy's gone. What about them same, just because they're celebrities? Damn, that's what we stand for, people. Like, that's insane to me, how we think as people. That shit blows my mind. But let's get into this. I got a video that I want to show that discusses ERA a little bit. Since I am talking about it, I wanted to. So this is a pastor. Let me get his name. Pastor Ketterling. He really breaks it down, and I think, honestly, at the end of the day, like I said, people need to listen. So I'm gonna be quiet, and this is like 7 minutes. I don't even think it's that long, but I'm gonna let him speak, and I'm gonna be quiet.
And I'm not shying away from this. I've jumped into this because this is a state I was born in. This is the state I pastor in. This is a state I love 11 months out of the year. February gets a little dark. I'm just saying. And I'm here to stand against something that I believe should be called the constitutional enshrinement of abortion and gender ideology, and not ERA. They call it ERA, but I don't think it's ERA at all. And I know that there's even some people that you're saying no ERA, and you're thinking, wait, years ago were we saying yes ERA? You know, like we wanted to give these rights. This is totally different. This is something that is that we wouldn't stand for as Minnesotans. We stood for equal rights, and we said women, ethnicities, we said all the different groups, yes, equal rights. But as a matter of fact, this one omits religion, which you've heard. It omits religion, and we've said this can't happen. This is something that we've seen as a rise, as other people have said. There's been a rise in religious persecution, and this one omits it. How could that be done? I mean, what is the intent of this? You'd have to ask yourself, if you're a person of deep faith, why would this be eliminated? Well, when you look at the Minnesota legislature and the previous committees, there was open hostility. There was open hostility to people of faith. And so when you look at this, you say, if there was open hostility, what's behind this right here that does this, that in this new, really non-ERA? It's a non-ERA. It's not, they left groups out. They put things in that, as you've heard so eloquently, that have nothing to do with this. To not have religion included in this shows that it's not serious. And to put abortion and gender ideology into it shows that there's got to be an agenda. So we're asking for the legislators to see the error of their ways. Just recently, I said yesterday in the Human Rights Act, they saw the error of their ways and put back in the religious exemption. And can I say thank you to all of you that worked so hard? Yeah, great job. You showed up. They paid attention. Now, some would say, why are we here today? Again, we're just, it's kind of confusing. You got HRA, ERA, trying to figure out which one and why are we here today? Okay, we're here today because it's still input time. It's still input time. It hasn't been written yet. It can be revised. So well, first of all, we'd like them to throw it out. That would be the number one thing. Throw it out. Throw it out. Throw it out. Throw it out. Throw it. Yeah. I had to get a chant in there somewhere. All right. Yeah, we want them to throw it out. There's still time for them to say this wrong. And if they won't do that, there's still time for them, because again, I think there's an agenda here. If they won't do that, they need to at least show they're serious by putting religion into this and not excluding religion. Because if they don't put it in, religion goes below everything else. That's wrong. That's wrong for it to be below. So this is why we're here today. It's still input time. Now, let me go back to the abortion and gender ideology being placed in our Constitution. If it's placed in our Constitution and enshrined in our Constitution, you'd realize that means the debate is over, the dissent is over, the dialogue is over. It's in our Constitution. It means that crisis pregnancy centers, women's sports, religious schools, sex-separated shelters, people that object as with deeply held religious views, they would be the enemy of the state. They would be going against the Constitution. I mean, you think about this. Again, we have Bible schools. We have pro-life ministries that operating their ministry would then be going against the Constitution. We have gender-specific mentoring in our churches, where the older women are supposed to mentor the younger women, men to young boys. It's mentoring. That would be seen as outside of our Constitution. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Okay. I mean, theoretically, you could be punished for using the wrong pronouns. You could be punished for going against the Constitution and saying life begins at conception, and we believe life begins at conception. I want to say this. The debate is not over. The debate is not over. This would settle the debate, and Minnesota legislators need to hear the debate is not over. The whole world is pausing. I'm shocked when I see that Europe is pausing on gender ideology and experimental surgery on children and saying, put pause on this. And Minnesota says, step on the gas. No, it's time to put the pause, stop this nonsense. And enshrining abortion, like it's been said, almost 80% of the state are people of faith. And people of faith are protecting life. And they're saying we are pro-life, and they're trying to sneak this in with language that is so innocuous. You look at it like, well, everybody should have a right to get pregnant. I mean, you look at it, and as we were reading it, we could see it was just a Trojan horse, just something to sneak in abortion and gender ideology. So I'm urging our legislators today to, number one, withdraw this new ERA that is not ERA. Throw it out. 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 Move it out. Now we know that's unlikely because there's an agenda. But they've got to at least show they're serious by putting religion in there. That's a small win, by the way. And don't be confused. The win yesterday was like giving us a win in one hand and then taking this hand and smacking us in the face with the ERA. It was a win, but it's a smack today. And we can't let that happen. We can't let that happen. And then I'm urging Minnesotans, regardless of the outcome, I'm urging all Minnesotans, whether you have faith or deeply held religious beliefs, to rally to oppose this, Should the legislators push this through and this get to the ballot, that we would oppose this, because this is not ERA. This is a new non-ERA that attacks the church, lowers the value of religion, elevates abortion and transgender ideology, and we cannot use our Constitution to advance an agenda. We use our Constitution to protect we the people. I'm asking you, lastly, to pray like it makes a difference, because it does. Pray like it makes a difference. Let your voice be heard. I had some people say to me, Pastor Rob, our church is going to choose a softer tone and just not show up and just kind of, you know what? I get it. Everybody has to do what they have to do. I understand. But here's the thing. There is a time when you stand up and you say, speak up for those that have no voice. Speak up for what's right. And stand for what is right together. And so let's pray, let's stand together, and let's urge our legislators one more time. Throw it out. Throw it out. Throw it out.
Well, fellow Minnesotans, this has been a tremendous turnout for the real equality movement. The House has to vote on this language.
So, like I said, I don't agree with, everything that was said. My thing is to educate, and to go from there. I think, given it, people should be open to doing their own research and their own homework, and seeing what's right for you and what's not. Seeing if this is it right for your community. Is this something that we should be focusing on? I feel like there's so many other things that is going on in our communities that we should be more focused on, instead of just always. And I'm not saying that it's not a problem, because there is problems that we face, right, when it comes to being homophobic and different things like that. It is a problem, but I think there's a lot of things too that, when it comes to politics, they take certain situations and turn them into something that it's not, to get things passed, right? And I'm not saying that there isn't actual situations, but they take the situations that's not the case and use that instead of actually using somebody that's really been through it. They would rather use the propaganda, just like of how, when it comes to gender affirming care, when it came to them passing that bill last year, there was people that came out that spoke against it and said that it should only be allowed for 18 and older, for the simple fact of that. And it's crazy because there's two sides of every story. There's success, and then there's other side of the story where maybe people have regrets, and it wasn't something but we should still listen. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but we should still listen. And that's what bugs me, is like everybody's just, it's either our way or no way, right? But here's another video on the ERA.
Women finally, after 72 years of work and fighting, won the right to vote. We still do not have equal rights. No equal rights in the Minnesota Constitution. It does exist in the constitutions of about half of our states. Minnesota, that we think of as progressive and top of the pack, is not one of those states that has an equal rights amendment. Even Wyoming, since it became a state in 1890, has equality under the law, applies to every member of the human race. We still need this in Minnesota. We need it in our private lives, in our public lives, and especially in our economic lives and in our legal lives. I hope you will join me in supporting equality of rights under the law for all Minnesotans. Thank you.
Thank you. So, and here goes a Republican legislator. Everybody
it
knows
being such a small portion of the DFL.
There we go.
That's pushing all of this. I'm going to ask it, but why don't we have other DFLers that are going, wait a second here? This is counter to a lot of groups and organizations that support us that we could potentially go and make against us in the future. I mean, it speaks to how solid the DFL and the Democrats are, but I continue to question, why don't we have at least some common sense coming from anybody on the DFL side to see what could happen here?
What you perceive as solid is an illusion. The fact of the matter is that crazy has a controlling interest in the Democrat Party. That's true in the state of Minnesota, and it's true nationally. Crazy has the controlling interest in the Democrat Party. And again, I point to Senator Nicole Mitchell.
Yeah.
It is politically suicidal to have handled that situation in the manner that they have. It is politically suicidal to put a clown like Bobby Joe Champion in charge of that ethics committee hearing and have him do a low rent version of Johnny Cochran trying to defend somebody who was caught red-handed victimizing their own mother. They didn't have to do that. They could have taken the high ground very easily. Very easily. They could have pushed for her to be ejected from the Senate and then played it cool for the remaining 2 weeks, worked with Republicans, did relatively non-controversial legislation, and then rolled into November painting themselves as the adults in the room. Look at us. We policed our own. We maintained the integrity of the institution. And by the way, we still accomplished the lion's share of our agenda coming into this term. Aren't we wonderful? Like, it would have been both the easy, the smart, and the effective thing to do, but they didn't do it. Why? Because the controlling interest of the Democrat Party is crazy. And the leaders, the so-called leaders of this party, are not actually in charge at all. Again, I point to last year around this time when off the House floor, it was like 126-0. They voted for an amendment put forward by Representative Harry Niska to reinsert language that protected children by specifying that the physical or sexual attachment to a child, pedophilia, does not qualify as a sexual orientation and therefore a protected class under the law. And then it went over to the Senate and Conference Committee, and because one lunatic, rumored to be Aaron Mayquade, because one lunatic was like, no, I ain't doing that, and they got a 34-33 balance in the Senate, they all voted to take it back out and to expose children and to remove protections for our most vulnerable born kids. Her sexual attachment to a child, pedophilia, does not qualify when off the House floor, it was like 126-0.
I gotta replay.
They voted for an amendment put forward by Representative Harry Niska to reinsert language that protected children by specifying that the physical or sexual attachment to a child, pedophilia, does not qualify as a sexual orientation and therefore a protected class under the law. And then it went over to the Senate and Conference Committee, and because one lunatic, rumored to be Aaron Mayquade, because one lunatic was like, no, I ain't doing that, and they got a 34-33 balance in the Senate, they all voted to take it back out and to expose children and to remove protections for our most vulnerable born kids. All right. Crazy has the controlling interest in the Democrat Party. They are out of their minds. And so when you say they're solid, I get the impression that they are.
Yeah.
They are a runaway train. They are out of control. They have been hijacked by literal lunatics, and they're headed off the cliff.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It being such a small.
I don't mean to laugh. I really do apologize. I want to show y'all something in a little bit, but again, I don't mean to laugh, but the way that that Walter was explaining that, the whole pedophilia thing and like with lunatics at the wheel, like that's how when I literally feel, you know what I'm saying? As a Minnesotan, I kind of feel like we got idiots, regardless if it's Walls, or Bobby Joe fucking champion, Cedric Frazier, regardless, Robin Walmsley, Vita Ellison, Keith Ellison, daddy and son, Jeremiah. We have people that are not for us. They're not for the people. And I don't know how to combat that beyond just educating and liberating. And that's why, for me, I kind of got away from always being like angry and, because my joy isn't down here. You know what I'm saying? So I can't let nobody take something. How can somebody take something that's not, they can't take? You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Like it's like, for me, my joy is, God gives me joy, man. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, like, I had to find confidence again in myself to be able to come back out here and to do these things, because I've literally been firebombed. I've been shot at. I've had guns put in my face. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been falsely arrested. I had to find that self-confidence in me. And now, because I've gone through a lot this year, a lot, and I've sat here and I've doubted myself. And there was people that sit there and that tell me, and it's crazy because it's always the people that I've never met or that you never meet, and just do the wildest things for you, right? And I had that happen this week. You know what I'm saying? God, I'm just gonna say, like, it's not my plan, it's God's plan, right? That's all I can say. It's not my plan, it's God's plan. And now that I know that, this is a whole new Chaz. It's always been a whole new Chaz, but I was scared, right? I always said, oh, I'm gonna face that fear and I'm gonna face everything and rise. But really, I wasn't. I was still, I'm not gonna say I was running, but I was idle, right? And my biggest opposition is idle time. I don't have, it's crazy. I only got two kind of ops, right? Opportunities, which is good, right? And then I got the evil ops. It's not the people. It's me. It's us. You know what I'm saying? We have to realize that. And I want to give people motivation, because I will say this shit gives me motivation. This is something that I listen to all the time. I love this. And I think other people should too, especially if you're from Minnesota. This should be on your playlist. This should be a song that you know and love. So let me be quiet and let's get into this, man. But I want people to know this song.
Morrison joins us now from Lake Nicholas in Minneapolis. Snap covers the state.
Good, Minnesota.
Weather causes pain. A nasty winter.
Nothing back for this one. Hometown too. I reside in the city with a twin, where the winter never ends and we hustle when it's cold outside. But when that summertime hit, they be bumping my shit. You can hear me when you go outside. I be rapping for that north side.
Let's go.
North side, I be rocking with that south side. That south side, I be rocking with that east side.
The east side.
I be rocking with that west side.
It's Minnesota till I die. It's Minnesota till I die.
It's Minnesota till I die. Man, we rolling, all the windows open, cruising through the city. I'm so caught up in the moment. 801 in Irving, I was brought up in the low end. Hometown hero, kinda feel like I was chosen. I'm so focused through concrete that grew a rose in. I heard you wanna try, and I'm just wishing and I'm hoping that ain't what you want. I got some sharks up in the hood that eat you fish for lunch. Why you yelling out my side? We ain't seen you once. I used to shop at 7 Mile off of Broadway. Now I'm walking through my closet like a hallway. In the film all day, man, we like an army. They ordered to kill if you ever try to harm me. Quarterback my team, taking snaps, call me Dante. Throw it on the moss, got me feeling like a boss. Woo! The city is mine, I feel like hoes. Back in 94, take a seat and watch me throw. The city with a twin, where the winter never ends and we hustle when it's cold outside. But when that summertime hit, they be bumping my shit. You can hear me when you go outside. I be rapping for that north side. That north side, I be rocking with that south side. That south side, I be rocking with that east side. That east side, I be rocking with that west side. It's Minnesota till I die, die, die. It's Minnesota till I die, die. It's Minnesota till I die. Lake Street, South Side, holla at my nigga Dot. Holla at the homie Great to get you straight like 6 o'clock. Hit the pole, holla at my nigga Tech. Holla at the homie Rob, they get nothing but respect. That's that Selby shit. You can't tell me shit. I've been seen with plenty women that you rarely get. I ain't bragging, y'all probably see me in action. These niggas acting tough, they remind me up to nothing. I'm rolling through the city without a care in the world. You here with me when you could be anywhere in the world. This is Minneapolis, not Minneapolis. Home of the prince, take a ride through his palace. Home of the mint, condition these rubber outlets. Now they say you're nervous, about to represent his town next. Quit asking if it's black people here, before I drop you in the hood and leave you there. It's my hometown. In the city with a twin, where the winter never ends and we hustle when it's cold outside. But when that summertime hit, they be bumping my shit. You can hear me when you go outside. I be rapping for that north side. That north side, I be rocking with that south side. That south side, I be rocking with that east side. That east side, I be rocking with that west side. Minnesota till I die, die, die. It's Minnesota till I die, die, die. It's Minnesota till I die.
Minnesota till I die. That was Mac Irv. Hometown Hero 2. That was dropped years ago. Something that I know that, you know, independent music is that's what I have a love for. And there's a lot, and I'm going to share, you know, a lot of the music that, you know, people made just during in the last 20 years that I think were some of the greatest music of Minnesota history that it's not talked about, you know. People talk about Prince. They talk about Bob Dylan. They talk about Mint Condition and Terry Jam and Terry Lewis, Alexander O'Neal. But we forget about the Mac Herbs, the Looney Mob out of Rochester. Because we've had so many, we had Baby Bash, so many great other artists. Who remembers Wifey from Next? I would play that, but I know I'd get blocked off of that. But the music that I'm gonna play, I know I'm not, because these were independent artists. These people put out the music themselves. And maybe that's why I never really got no play. But yeah, there's so much music that I feel like is underappreciated, and we have artists now like Louis Blaze, somebody that is independent, and does music because he loves it. Does it because he feeds it to the people. And what's crazy is there's a message in his words, and I think people don't want messages anymore. They want just mumble rap. They want words that they can't understand, or it doesn't mean shit to them. I know when I do my poetry, it means something to me. It's shit that I've been through. And it's crazy that I have to be in my 40s I had to be in my 40s to find confidence, to finally find that confidence, to be able to do the things that I'm doing with words that I've been doing for over 20 plus years. Something that I learned how to do in juvie was write poetry, but I was always scared of how people would look at me or judge me. And when I finally said, you know what, I don't care. I don't care what it's crazy, because I do this because I love it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if nobody listens to it. I listen to it. and I know there's others that listen to it, maybe not everybody in the world. I don't have hundreds of thousands of streams, but those hundreds I care about, and I appreciate them. It's not about the quality. I mean, the quantity. It's about the quality. And I'd rather have quality fans than a quantity of fans, because I don't want fake love. I don't want fake approval. I don't want that fake acceptance, because I'm always going to be Chaz. There's I'm just who I am. And people, you're going to love me or hate me. I don't really give a fuck. But at the end of the day, I love me. I love me. And regardless if people don't want to work with me when it comes to, doing this, please look in the mirror and don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. Please. That's all I'm asking, is don't judge me for my past when you're out here doing current shit. That's all I'm saying. When I've paid my debt to society. That's all I'm saying. And I'm going to leave it at that. Because in less than 2.5 weeks is Operation Hug the Block. And we coming. Block by block. We coming. Because it's our time. Now is our time. And we're going to educate and liberate. That's what Operation Hug the Block is. This is about educating and liberating, growth and development. That's what Operation Hug the Block is. We're going to show the community how to love each other again, right? Of what actually is a community. Because we're going to hug block by block. Each block, we are going to hug it. And we're going to love on that block. And that's what's crazy, because these people ain't out there doing it. Because our objective is to engage residents who are disproportionately impacted by violence, mobilizing them to exert a collective and collaborative approach on local nonprofits and elected officials. This momentum aims to compel these entities to take more decisive actions to curb gunfire and violence in our city. Because it does, man. It does matter. There's different things that we can do. Create a school to paycheck pipeline. And I'm not gonna give y'all everything. I'm just gonna give y'all some crumbs, right? Because that's part of the things that we can do. That's a solution, right? We can also address the economic needs of the communities, right? Which isn't being done. We can increase coordination among city departments so that there isn't this big old disconnect between the community that we pay these people salaries, right? Even though we only might be renters, that shouldn't matter because everybody should be equal, right? So we need to increase that coordination where it isn't just the property owners and the landlords that have access to these city departments that actually do things out here for the public, right? So that's one thing that we, want to discuss. Also, provide second chances. Also, evaluate gun buyback efforts. Also, we want people to put this in people's heads, right? And it's not something that's going to happen overnight, but I think it is something that we should look at, is to create a criminal justice and public safety reinvestment fund. So there is a lot of things that we can do, and also as well as bolster the gun violence intervention program, the GVI. If people are, up to date on that, you should know what GVI is. And that's a little crumbs I'm gonna give y'all because it does go. I get into detail. Me and Marcus get into detail. We're just not two dumbass niggas that just out here just doing whatever. See, they let us. I'm thankful for these people, right? I'm thankful for BLM. I'm thankful for L Sharpton. I'm thankful for Ben Crump. All these fake ass niggas, right? Because y'all let me see the light. Y'all showed me what not to do to the community. The only fucked up thing about it is that this shit been going on for so long in the community that these niggas got PTSD from it. These people are so brainwashed that they can't even see that their so-called community leaders are actually fucking them over and making the community even worse. But we're gonna show them that, you know what? If you want to work in the community, you got to be a part of this community, right? Because there's too much money that is coming into these communities and not being. Why is it looking the way that it looks? Why is it getting worse? Why is it getting worse? Nobody ever wants to ask that. We've had literally billions of dollars come into these communities, but yet they're getting worse. Anybody ever wonder that? It's because we fell right into their plans. We fell right into their plans. And it's crazy. It's not that we just didn't fall into it, because it's called the Willie Lynch effect, right? The Willie Lynch syndrome. Something that's been going on for years and years and years. And it's going to take more than just a few truth tellers, right? Few trendsetters, truth seekers to come out here and do this. Because Malcolm Ben did it. Martin, Fred, Huey, so many others before us. And they're not here no more. They're not here no more. So what does that tell us? What does that tell us? That we need a change. So next I want to get into, and this, I only got two more things I want to get into. But this is about Rochester and Superintendent Kent Pekel dropped a bombshell yesterday, and he recommended a $19.4 million property tax increase to support local school operations. We break down the proposal as impact on taxpayers and the potential consequences of not passing it. He broke, literally, this is my thing of it is, right? Because watching that and made me feel like it was more of a fear-mongering tactic. Like, and I haven't watched the media, and I'm talking about what the news did, the little clip, but I want to see more than what the news just put out there, because I feel like what the news put out, it was more of a fear-mongering tactic. Well, if we don't pass this, it's gonna do this, and this. And it's like, are we sure? You know what I'm saying? Because people, what the crazy part of it is like, well, if we don't pass this, we're gonna have to cut programs. But not only are we gonna have to cut programs, we're gonna have to cut jobs. All while you have people out here you have mayors begging our federal government to make it easier for illegals to. And that's all I'm gonna say. For people that are not illegally able to work in America, right? They want to make it easier. Because you know why? Because we have to take care of them if they're not working. So what are we supposed to do? We literally have been put in a situation that it's going to take we the people to overcome. It's crazy what people will pay attention to and then want to complain when it's too late. Because I'll tell you right now, I really thought, and this is going back to Marissa. This is going back to the election last night in Hennepin County, because I really do believe that it was okay. Let's see, unless she put up anything. And she really hasn't even made a statement. Not that I've seen anyways. Marissa. But yeah, I just don't think you can win. Yeah. I just don't think, how can you win an election if people aren't coming out to vote? That I don't know. That's just something I will always believe in. You're never going to be able to win that way. Never, never, never. Never, 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 never. I'm going to win that way. So this is the last thing that I want to show y'all. It's this thread on Twitter. And breaks it down. And I think I'm going to put it in the chat. So if you would like to see this for yourself and go on to her website, Jewel's website, because it's very informative. She has very good shit on there. I ain't even on front. So if you would like to learn more about Minneapolis, about some of these movements, so a history lesson explaining her thesis, the woke mind virus Minnesota Nice only existed in the state hyphenated Americanism originated. So people don't remember, I know a lot of y'all won't, but in 1984, you had a presidential election between Ronald Reagan and Walter Mondale. Reagan, who was the Republican, and Mondale was the Bush. I think 84 was Bush ran too. I don't know, Reagan and Bush, right. There it is, Ferrero, because George was Reagan's vice, right? So Walter Mondale, who was from Minnesota, but if you look at the map, there was only one state, Minnesota, and then you had DC, which isn't considered a state. It's considered an area, a district of America, right? So what does that show y'all? This is 30 years ago that only one state in the electoral votes voted blue. So where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong? Is it right? Because that's 30 years ago. The rest of the country, the rest of America was red, right? This is only presidential. This isn't anything more. Don't read anything further into it. I'm just talking about when it comes to politics. So Illinois at one point did vote Republican with their electoral, even though they're more of a progressive blue state, which Minnesota, which was really wild because even California, they say we're trying to be like. I think it's more of like California was able to get the progressives in more at a faster rate than Minnesota, maybe because we have larger rural areas, and they could expedite their legislation quicker. That's the only thing that I could think I can think of when it even comes to that, because, you know, it is California is a larger area, but it's more of a populated area than Minnesota. We have a lot of rural where there isn't not a lot of people. So hyphenated Americanism began among German communists. It was spread primarily through the NAACP and the teacher unions. These would be heavily associated with the Minnesotans, Roy Wilkins, who was part of the NAACP, and then Mondale, who was part of the teachers union. Minnesota Nice, aka political correctness, launched during the 1984 election season. So I tell people to go look at this thread for a reason, because it's informative, right? And literally breaks down in a perspective of what we see going on. Right. No, you're correct, Robert. And like I said, she breaks it down, man. There was changes in civil rights law, made stereotyping legally actionable at companies, schools, and government. Stereotypes largely stick because they are accurate. These changes ask conformity and motivated reasoning, and for it's words, I don't know what the fuck those even mean. Election 1988, recruitment begins for violent free speech. What do you see? 1983 to 2020, political correctness in Minnesota are spread primarily through women's group, human resources, NAACP, etc., all who have roots in Minnesota. It breaks it down. The Minneapolis Terrorist Network, formerly known as Anti-Racist Action, was formed here. Duluth model. People really should go look into this, because it's no joke of how all of this leads back with Hubert H. Humphrey. Yeah, it's crazy. Even with roots goes back to NAACP, Emmett Till. So people should really do your homework. So 2012, the RNC in St. Paul, this trailer for Unconvention. Let's watch it. We're going. Oh hell no! I didn't realize it was that much minutes. I didn't realize. See what they talk here. This is 19.
We love liberty. That's what we're here for. The opportunity to express our liberty. Well, this is a test of the emergency free speech system. This is only a test. If this had been an actual free speech emergency, we'd be seeing preemptive raids by the Ramsey County Sheriff's Department.
Oh.
Oh my God.
brought my crew here. I'm trying to let people know that I don't have a bad temper, and I want people to vote for me despite the powerful presence of my opponent, Barack Obama.
Thank you very much.
Cops coming up behind us. I'm concurring with Chris that it's a good idea to stay out of the line of fire.
Medics that we're seeing here, they got gas.
Did they get you?
Oh yeah, '08 was pretty wild in St. Paul during the RNC.
Police that are snapping photos and getting up close and trying to take photos of tattoos and all the rest of this. And it was a really mixed crowd. You know, there's kids going to the concert, college kids, families, delegates, security, police, you know, just a wide array of people there for a whole different reasons.
He is.
Hard to tell what that was, but it blew up. I don't know if you can see it from there. Wow.
There. Liquid smoke.
Holy shit.
Oh, God, what is that?
That is a freaking grenade. Oh, my God. That just blew up on these kids. On these students. That was a little, holy fuck. Explosion. Excuse my language on the air here. You can see that smoke bomb is still generating green smoke.
Trin, get out of the line of fire.
Yeah. Thank you.
Damn, that's insane, man, because I'm sitting there asking myself, like, 2008, what was I doing? This shit, to be honest, I don't even remember. Definitely wasn't paying attention to what was going on in St. Paul, obviously, because, damn, I don't remember any of this. And I lived in that area at that time, so, damn, that's crazy. Crazy. Yeah, because I had just got off parole in 2008. Damn. So yeah, I definitely don't. But I don't remember the Jamar Clark stuff either. And that was in North Minneapolis. And I was running around through there. So damn, that shit just, I guess what you really out of sight, out of mind if you're not paying attention. Because I really don't watch the news and shit. So not that that sounds more like an excuse than anything. And I ain't trying to be out here being, because there's no excuses for this anymore.
All right, these guys are still coming. So, yeah, again, some more crazy explosives coming out. There's a blue one.
Oh, God.
Oh, heads up. That's an amazing amount of smoke coming out of that thing. Hands up! Okay, there's no panic, doesn't seem to have a point. Okay, looks like resistance has decided to form.
This is a retreat. Cops coming up behind us.
Concurring with Chris, it's a good idea to stay out of the line of fire. It's hard to tell the shadows of the.
You know what's crazy is, as I'm sitting here listening to this, and this is something from 2008, right? being at the protest in 2020, you would hear the hands up, don't shoot, right? Motherfuckers was doing this shit. I'm thinking this shit came from a situation that happened with police brutality, right? And this shit there, the Republican National Convention, and I'm sure there was probably maybe I need to look more into it. But damn, I'm like, this shit crazy.
Bird from the shadows of incoming. Jesus.
All right,
There literally is a situation with incoming here. You see these people, these young people on the street, and this young man advising everyone to stop panicking. It seems sensible. And here come the men who have been.
I'm gonna stay behind the police. Nope. No, I'm not. They're not looking at me very nice. Can I go on that side? Okay. They tell me I can't go behind them. I'm gonna keep on moving. The cops were they were looking at. Oh, that's okay. I have to walk through some snow to get out of here. They're threatening to pepper spray people behind me. Just tear gas? I don't know. It does not pleasant though. I can't. All right, Dad, I gotta go. I gotta run.
Get moving!
Go! Out of here! Fuck me. Don't stay behind. Keep moving. Oh man, got some. I don't know how to handle that.
It hurts, man. I know.
Yeah.
Just grab the water for your eyes.
Anyone got some water?
Got any?
Do you suggest rubbing it?
Thank you very much.
Well, it makes it worse, you know. Oh, well, then I don't want to do that, do I?
Just a little splash.
All right, I had to walk through a very large amount of tear gas. Oh, God. There it is. Oh. Keep going. Keep going. What? No, I don't. I'll look forward and I'll stay close. There. Holy! This guy just threw something. We're right across from Harriet Island between the Quest Center and the Science Fair. You won't be able to get the cars. All right, I'm gonna get off. Yeah, gotcha. Bye. Yeah, can you just splash a little bit on me? Yeah. It's gonna be head? I'll just take a sip. All right, good. There you are. All right, come on, go.
On the Shepherd Road incident, I've got two reporters down there, and they're also with a Minnesota Public Radio reporter, and they're being told that they're detained on Shepherd Road. They're down there reporting. They're being told they're going to be arrested. They have press credentials, all three of them. Are they eventually going to be released?
I can't answer the question as to whether we released it because I don't know what they've done down there. If all they were doing is standing down there and they failed to leave when we made the order for dispersal, they may well be taken into custody, but I would expect that they would not be held for an extended period of time. But I can't speak to that because I don't know what behavior would be the basis of the arrest.
We heard reports of tear gas being used down the street. And there's people running up, kind of, oh my gosh, we're being tear gas, concussion grenades, what's going on? And I was filming, and I wanted to be there to document it. And so I kind of ran up, and I see kids, they got snot coming out of their nose, and they're crying, and there's kind of a little bit of chaos, but all the demonstrators are being peaceful.
Do you think in any way you underestimated this group and what they were going to do today? No, I don't think we underestimated them at all. I think we knew early on that they were going to attempt this. We had good intel, we had good information that this was their strategy. And I think the fact that we had one large window and some squad car windows broken, and we chased them around for quite a while, in part was a fact of the restraint that the officers used in trying to handle this. But no, I don't think we underestimated the numbers or the intent of the criminal element that might come to St. Paul.
So how many total officers were injured, Chief?
I believe 2 officers.
One from heat
and one that got hit in the back. A lot of other officers took rocks, but none of them have reported any real injuries at this point.
But at this point, the police were just basically forming a big line. They had police on cavalry, they had police on bicycles, and then they had the regular riot cops who were reinforced by National Guard. All in gas masks, all in full riot gear. The police steadily started moving in towards the park. Okay. And we're filming, and CNN's filming, and you can see big media with their helmets and their gas masks behind the police lines. And everyone was, the concerts right across the river, and everyone was just kind of hanging out, mellowing out. And the police slowly started to move down the street and create a line. Other than just people being upset about not being able to get to work and not being able to get to the show, there was no sort of protester confronting the police other than verbally.
There was a coordinated effort to bring different groups together to take action in the city, but these groups are in fact different organizations, in some cases from different states. And so I don't believe this is one big organization, although there is certainly a coordinating function that seems to be driving it.
And so, but they slowly started.
Yeah, so that was just a little bit. I want to go back to this thread. So Unconvention literally starts out with a kid standing 100 feet from trace route, woke mind virus, not knowing why he's protesting, and which is the case that most people don't understand why they were out there protesting. A preview of 2020, Jewel said, 2017, she publicly predicted a global panic regarding Minnesota policing, and this pseudo reality. 2020, we see the largest, most destructive mass hysteria in the history of the species. No lie detected. 2024, Minnesota's Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, religious symbol becomes part of the new flag. The woman's star symbolizes woman's dominion over man. So this is our new Minnesota flag. If people don't remember or know, that is waving around. I want to get into some other things that was said. Americanism hyphenated because America first. This is the proper start to the identity taxonomy. So there's a lot of things I know that was just said that was put out there, but I think people really need to start paying attention to what's going on because we are getting left behind. And I'm not saying that we have to agree on every issue, but it should be about what's best for our community and everybody in our community. We shouldn't be leaving people behind and be like, oh, we got this black excellence. No, let's stop doing that, right? Let's stop doing that. That's not right. That's not fair. That's not cool, right? Because everybody's success looks different. So once people understand that, man, that everybody's success looks different and everybody's vision of success or ideology and definition of success is different. So with that being said, man, get up out of here today. Last days of the session is happening and got to pay attention or we're going to get left behind, man, because education is the passport to the future. Because if you don't understand history, we definitely can't understand where we're going. So win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell, wish me well. Have a great one. Urban conservative.